Breaking right now, Prince Harry's friends have lashed out at his disgusting and unforgivable BBC interview amid shock new reporting about why the royal family have turned forever on the Sussexes. So we're going to get analysis on all of this from royal YouTube sensation, according to Taz imminently. But first, let me just take you through this really sensational reporting from Richard Eden in the Daily Mail in the past few hours. Their headline, what Harry's old friends are really saying about his disgusting interview, as they reveal to Richard Eden what their relationships with the prince are like now. And he reports, of all the public criticism levelled at the Duke of Sussex in recent days, the comments from his old friend Ben Goldsmith were possibly the most significant. Tragic but true. Prince Harry's behaviour is unforgivable, the 44-year-old financier who grew up with the Duke told me this week. The Goldsmith family, particularly Ben's sister Jemima, was so close to Princess Diana and her sons that rumours persisted that the two were sisters. Such claims were unfounded, even though Diana's mother, Frances Shan Kidd, was rumoured to have had a long-running affair with Jemima and Ben's father, the billionaire Sir James Goldsmith. Ben is the first former pal of the Duke to condemn him publicly. But if Harry thinks those comments are strong, he should hear what his old chums are saying in private. For friends tell me they are disgusted by Harry's interview, in which he made a number of explosive personal claims, such as that he didn't know how much longer his father had after his cancer diagnosis. He also claimed that those who wish him harm would consider his defeat last Friday in a legal challenge over his taxpayer-funded security in Britain as a huge win. And this is what one friend told the Daily Mail: I don't know what's more disgusting, Harry's comments about his father's health or his suggestion that people want him dead. It's very sad, but we all know that he doesn't want to hear things he disagrees with. So that is sensational new reporting from Harry's friends. And according to Taz, also has very strong feelings on this interview. She posted, OMFG, I'm so sick of reading that Harry looked sad and was about to cry. We should feel sorry for him. The king should welcome him with open arms. He was absolutely horrid in the interview. He was arrogant, cold, smarmy, smug, entitled, bitter, angry, odious and delusional. Vile. Let this be an end to the constant media stories about reconciliations and olive branches. Harry is still waging a one-sided war against his family, and he's using the media to do it. He doesn't just hate his family, he's actively trying to make the public hate his family. Traitor! And I'm delighted to say that, according to Taz, is with me now. And I guess what is most extraordinary about this breaking news from the Daily Mail, Tash, is that Prince Harry's friends feel almost as strongly as you do.
It's unbelievable that he's done this, and the things that obviously came out in that interview. He shows that he has no remorse after what he did to his grandparents, considering that they went to their graves, both of them, with his last round of accusations that he did on Oprah, The Me You Can't See, the various other podcasts, his book. And he's done exactly the same now. I mean, some of the accusations he came out with were wild. He comes across as even more bitter and angry towards his family. But to say that he is asking, he wants a reconciliation, he forgives them whilst launching another round of attacks. Honestly, it's hard to not see how anyone can take him seriously. This level of gaslighting is... I've never seen anything like it, Dan. Never.
I know. It's extraordinary. And the thing is, Ben Goldsmith is a good guy. And the fact that he is now prepared to go on the record, you know, he has been in royal circles, Tash, for such a long time, attended Prince William and Catherine's wedding, of course, and it just says it all. They have had enough. He has gone too far. And I think, Tash, probably in the initial furore around the interview, one thing that was missed by a lot of folk was just how insane it is that Harry is claiming that his own family, his own supporters are actually in some way conspiring or colluding with the government, the British deep state, to kill him. I mean, it's utterly ludicrous. But actually, Tash, then at the same time, this is where the argument really doesn't add up. At the same time, we were all just so desperate for him to return with Meghan, and that's why the security was taken away. So not only are the arguments like crazy and conspiratorial and very worrying in terms of where his mental health is at, they don't add up because they're also so contradictory, Tash.
He's done it quite a lot. You know, I think there was an article not that long ago where it said that he referred to his father as being the ceremonial head of state. And then in the next breath, he's like, my father could do something about it. My father could change this, you know, he could have swayed the decision by Ravik. He said that about his grandmother as well. But yes, I mean, he came out with a lot of stuff in that interview. It really did shock me. I was not expecting that sitting in bed Saturday morning with my cup of tea, I can tell you. But yes, I think the way that he talks about this royal household like it's an evil, nefarious organization with members of his family plotting. It's gone from the men in grey suits, obviously parroting some of the things that Diana said, to now he's becoming more sinister. It's definitely a little bit deranged, I would say, the accusations he's coming out with. There's no logic to it whatsoever.
No, there's not. And we also, Tash, have new reporting out of the New York Post and specifically page 6 today. Now, this reporter, Sarah Nathan, has very close royal contacts, and she says whiny Prince Harry is being blackballed by the royal family because none of them trust him or Meghan Markle, according to sources in the know. So let me just read you through, Tash, some of this really good reporting from a royal source who says, I think genuinely nobody trusts him, and that's the bottom line. The royal family has major trust issues with him, and that's what is at the heart of everything. They don't trust him and Meghan, and that's why they can't have a relationship. Maybe there's room to forgive, but they won't forget. Forgiveness and trust are two different things. And there's also some other new reporting in this article, Tash. Page 6 is also told that King Charles refused to see his youngest son when Harry jetted over to the UK for the Invictus Games 10th anniversary celebrations in April 2024. The source also mused that Harry, who has not seen his dad since a quick trip to the UK after the monarch announced his cancer diagnosis in February 2024, could even use the security decision as a reason not to bring his wife and kids back for any future royal funeral. Well, I'm sorry, Tash. At that point, I just say, you scumbag. You absolute scumbag.
Yeah.
We see what is happening here. The children are yet again being weaponized, this time in terms of a potential future royal funeral. We know who they're talking about. We know they can only be talking about King Charles. And that is just so low. It is the lowest of the low. Oh, so you're not going to see your grandchildren before you die. And then if you die, they're also not going to attend your funeral. Well, I'm sorry. That would be considered unforgivable. Although, as we've seen from Ben Goldsmith and Harry's friends' comments, there is no forgiving going on. And his behaviour has already been unforgivable. So maybe we just have to bow to the inevitable.
Meghan's using the children as marketing tools. Harry's using his children as emotional manipulation, a way to hurt and punish his father. And I find that's honestly just diabolical, really. I mean, it's one thing to try and hurt his father because he's angry with them, to use his own children as weapons to do that. It's disgusting. I honestly, whenever we always say they cannot go any lower. And yet again, they do. They manage to go lower every single time. I'm not surprised that the royals have blackballed him. How could they trust him? You referenced when he came over and he saw his father in February after the announcement of the king having cancer. The next day, don't forget, Harry was up in Whistler having an interview which was meant to be about the Invictus Games. But before he actually came on camera, it was advertised as a health update on the King. I believe that Harry shot over there to get some information. And if the King had told him anything, we would have heard all about it on that interview. You cannot trust him. I say that he's like a fox caught in a chicken shed, picking, bones out of his teeth. It's why on earth would you let him back in again when he's still he's never had any sort of apology for his family, for all of the hurt that he did. And a lot of it was lies on Oprah. The horrible allegations that he leveled at his family using racism and race baiting. Prince William having to say, my family are not racist. And yet here he is now saying that the royal household and members of his family want history to repeat itself. We know that he means his mother, and he's referring to people want him dead. I mean, this is just honestly unbelievable. And the way he referenced, it wasn't my wife, my children, it was my wife and the King's grandchildren. It's just emotional manipulation, and he's using his children as weapons, and that is unforgivable.
Oh, it's totally unforgivable. It's totally unforgivable. But Tash, the other thing is, we know how much Harry has struggled with the fact that he is not part of the royal family VE Day celebrations at all, or commemorations, I should say. It is VE Day today. It was absolutely wonderful seeing Catherine, the Princess of Wales, alongside Camilla that was earlier in the week, actually, with Prince George, which was really lovely to see. But if we look at these pictures from today...
Oh, she looked amazing. Yeah. That hat. Oh, I'm definitely becoming a hat person. She looks incredible, doesn't she? She really does.
Absolutely. And this was really, Tash, the main set piece event for all senior working royals who were there alongside British politicians. So we see Sophie there, Princess Anne was there, obviously Camilla and the King. This is a major event in the royal calendar, and of course VE Day. And the reason why we saw George earlier with those veterans is because it's so important. This is, the connection between the royal family and World War II is just so important. And Harry grew up feeling that. However, now, Tash, according to Radar Online, he's just obsessed with watching his family and becoming increasingly bitter and angry about what he sees at this week's event.
That's obvious.
Yeah. So, I mean, their reporting is quite something, Tash. They say, while King Charles, Queen Camilla, Prince William and Kate Middleton, as well as their 3 children, stood united on the Buckingham Palace balcony for the VE Day celebration, royal exile Prince Harry was said to be intently watching the spectacle unfold from thousands of miles away. Sources said Harry was glued to the coverage of his family, watching and re-watching clips of their picture-perfect appearance. Charles and Camilla were all smiles alongside the breakout star Prince Louis, who stole the show. But in lonely Montecito, California, well-placed sources said Harry was fixated on consuming as much coverage as possible. One palace insider revealed he watches every second. Balcony appearances, viral clips, even Prince Louis' silly faces. He can't help himself. He may say he's moved on, but he's still obsessed with what he left behind. And I just thought, Tash, he called me, in spare, a sad little man. But the only sad little man is surely someone who now looks on longingly at his nephew, his young nephew, who he should be proud of, instead of actually doing some good, or thinking, if I hadn't destroyed the relationship with my family, there may have still been a role for me in these celebrations. Now, Tash, he wouldn't have been on the balcony as a non-working royal, we know that. But if it just got over his ego, there were other things he could have done. The royal family would have made him feel at home. But no, his ego is so massive that instead he just sits and gets all steamy. And he's always been like this. Even when he was in the UK, Tash, I would be told of the fact that he would be doom scrolling through X, and he's got all of his sort of burner accounts, which are anonymous, reading articles, screaming at people about these articles. It's like, you wanted out. Yeah. You said you were trapped. Why not just move on and let the royal family do their brilliant job?
The way that reporting, says that he's obsessively watching his family, that to me is someone that mentally doesn't seem healthy. It's one thing to miss your family and to perhaps have regrets, but it's obvious that Harry has no regrets after the awful things that he's levelled at his family. As I said, the fact that the Queen and Prince Philip went to their graves having that overhanging them, and he doesn't have a single bit of remorse in him. He's becoming more bitter, more angry, more paranoid. The stories are becoming more and more delusional, and I would say unhinged. There's bits of me that thinks, is Harry ever going to be allowed anywhere near the family for their safety? The fact that he's quite willing to sell secrets, conversations, show text messages, to talk about the inside layout of palaces, it's clearly obvious that he doesn't have a single concern for the safety of his family when he continuously talks about things that he knows damn well that he should not. And the thought of him looking at Prince George and Princess Charlotte and Prince Louis obsessively, that to me is just jealousy. And there's a bit of me that I'm glad he's away from them. I don't think that he'd be a nice uncle particularly. And as we know, Meghan, she wasn't particularly nice to Princess Charlotte
no,
either.
Indeed. And look, William doesn't want Harry near any of the children, because he knows that what he would try and do is turn the children against the British royal family. And actually, even though I thought the son was pretty grim getting a lip reader in, Tash, during during the events
standard,
on
isn't it?
Monday with Louis. But what it was lovely is that you could see Prince William have his chats with Louis, and this is good.
Yeah,
well, I think Louis said, this is going to be fun. I thought you said this was going to be fun, Dad, and William said it will be. You've just got to stay patient. Actually, it shows that the lovely sort of balance that he strikes between knowing his children have to do a certain amount of duty, but also understanding that they're young and wanting it to be fun for him. Now, Tash, what do you make? Oh, sorry, Tash, can I just ask what you make of the whole Mexico scandal and the fact that there's all of these question marks over whether Prince Archie really did celebrate his birthday at this 30,000-acre Mexican retreat, given that apparently the resort is now closed, or at least has been closed for a number of weeks. That's what Paula M has been reporting. At the same time, for me, I think the thing that was most shocking is this is an area of Mexico, Jalisco, that the US State Department has a travel advisory in place to Americans to reconsider travel, Tash, for violent crime, gang activity, and kidnapping. Right. Kidnapping, which you'd imagine would be his big concern. So what we're meant to believe now, Tash, is that he can go to Colombia, one of the most dangerous countries in the world. He can go to dangerous parts of Africa. He can even go to Ukraine. He can even go to war-torn Ukraine. However, the only risk is in the United Kingdom, where he could stay at Buckingham Palace anyway. I mean, it's ludicrous. But it was all very weird, wasn't it, this whole Mexican thing? Do you think it was an old photo? Was it a manipulated photo? What's going on with this one?
I think there's a lot of obsession with people discussing anytime there's a new photograph, it's photoshopped, especially after the big blowout with Catherine's Mother's Day photograph, which was just absolutely ridiculous. But there is something that even I saw in this picture, and that is quite simply the shadows from that brick wall, from the lattice shape, does not match the shadows on the floor. It's rather odd, and I don't know whether it's just a trick of the light, but I find that really bizarre. And another thing that I do find bizarre, obviously it's the back of the children again. Doesn't she ever think for these photographs that she's going to post public, why not straighten the children out a little bit? Why not brush their hair? I know it's only the back of them. Straighten up their pajamas. There's always a photograph, and I just think it's actually, although it's, of course, just the back of them, it's never quite flattering. She's never combed their hair or done a nice photograph, which obviously I think most parents do, don't they? You quickly wet their hair down or something, make them look lovely. And yeah, the whole thing was weird. And the striped pajamas, I thought, he just looked like a child in a prison. And there's maybe, sadly, some truth to that with the way that he's
some type
up.
of prison, isn't he? He's certainly like one of those royals who used to be kept in the tower, away from his family members. It's very, very sad, and away from his heritage too, which is very, very sad.
Yes.
But no, I found the imagery incredibly weird, but I also found someone who claims that social media, or at least her husband claims, that some type of killing field, the most dangerous place for children in the world. And then you post a picture of your 6-year-old son in pajamas. I mean, it is very, very odd. The messaging there is very contradictory. And I mean, Harry wasn't even there, was he, for the birthday? And of course, Meghan, who claims, Tash, I don't look at any of the social commentary, I don't look at any of the reports about me, of course, had to say within the post, we had the birthday party last week, to try and make the point it's acceptable that Harry is missing the party to go to Las Vegas. Now, maybe that is acceptable. It's obviously a personal choice that parents make. However, what annoys me is just the fact that all of their messaging is about how they put the children first before everything. They're always there. They're very hands-on.
It's the most important job in the world.
Yeah, because none of their actions bear that out.
No, they don't. It's that whole thing that the only title that Meghan cares about is that of being a mother, as she leaves her children at home again with whoever, her wording, not mine. She couldn't even remember on Drew Barrymore's show who is with the children. But as we've recently learned, she has a full-time nanny. As she says, I work so hard. But yes, Harry, for all of the complaints that he's done about his father being absent throughout his childhood, the king had responsibilities as the Prince of Wales. Harry does not have a job. He does not have responsibilities like that. He could cherry pick every single year when he chooses to go to any of these appearances. The Diana Award, I'm sure, would be very flexible with when Harry could go over there. They would work around him, but he's chosen his son's birthday yet again. And I think this is the third or fourth birthday he's spent away from his child. It's complete hypocrisy. And it does make you wonder what is really going on with him, to say that his father mistreated him and never gave him hugs and bike rides, which obviously we know that was complete lies. There's lots of videos and clips out there and photographs to show otherwise. But then to be away from your child all of the time. They don't even take them when they go on some of these trips abroad, considering the fact they've got nannies. The nannies could stay with them in the hotels. I've never understood why they don't take the children to the Invictus Games. The children don't have to be on camera. They could stay in the hotels with the nannies. There's lots of children's activities every single year at the Invictus Games, because it's not just about athletes, it's about their entire families. But no, they leave them behind and they go there and ditch their kids all the time. It's bizarre.
Tash, I've got to ask you about the shortlist for the memorial for the late Queen Elizabeth II. We can have a look at these. So this is the monument that will be located in St. James's Park, which is right near Buckingham Palace, of course. But there are options: a royal garden, a memorial walk, a stone bridge, a Windsor oak, interwoven pathways. Although I think that's the one that we all love, isn't it? The traditional statue. Do you agree?
It is a walkway and a path and some lovely gardens. After a few years, will just be a path. It doesn't matter if it's the Queen Elizabeth Gardens, the Queen Elizabeth Bridge. It just becomes somewhere that people just walk over like every day. Whereas a big statue that you can look up of her, especially on a horse. I mean, she loved her horses. It was a real passion of hers. That's what you want. I love the big statues. Even now, when I go into London occasionally, you look up these big statues of people. I mean, it's just something different. And I believe that she deserves something like that. A boring bridge. And I really didn't like some of those designs either. I mean, they're very futuristic-y, and that's just not Queen Elizabeth.
No, and I think, Tash, probably the best evidence of why not to try something like that is the Princess Diana sort of, what was it, the waterway in Hyde Park,
Yeah.
which you can take a look at here. And back in after her death,
Yeah.
everyone thought, oh, this will be great, and it's very futuristic, and people will play there, and it's really an eyesore now, and it's been left to fade away. It hasn't become a focal point of Hyde Park, and actually, it's not at all what we should be doing for the Queen. So, the late Queen Elizabeth II.
Yeah.
So I'm glad we are agreed, Tash.
Yes,
it's got to be the statue.
absolutely, Dan.
It's got to be the statue.
Prince Harry has been at the center of major media attention in recent years, especially following high-profile interviews and public statements about his experiences within the royal family. Any new interview or media appearance tends to generate significant discussion and reaction. The video claims that friends of Prince Harry are furious and have described the situation as disgusting and unforgivable. This is presented as a strong backlash to what was said or how the interview was handled. However, it is important to note that these reactions are not clearly verified. Reports about friends often rely on unnamed sources, and it can be difficult to confirm whether such statements were actually made or accurately represented. The video likely focuses on key moments from the BBC interview, highlighting statements that could be seen as controversial or sensitive. These moments are then used to explain why strong reactions might have emerged. Phrases like disgusting and unforgivable are powerful and emotionally charged. While they capture attention, they can also exaggerate the situation and make it seem more intense than what is confirmed by reliable sources. At this stage, there is no solid confirmation that Prince Harry's friends have publicly issued such strong statements. The story appears to be based on interpretation, commentary, and possibly anonymous reporting. Stories like this tend to spread quickly because they combine emotional language with high-profile figures. Audiences are naturally drawn to narratives involving conflict, especially when they involve well-known public personalities. This situation reflects a broader trend in media coverage, where reactions and opinions are often presented as widespread sentiment, even when they may come from limited or unclear sources. It is important to remember that public figures like Prince Harry are often subject to intense scrutiny, and narratives about their personal and professional lives can quickly become amplified beyond what is confirmed. So, while the video presents this as a major backlash, the reality appears less certain. Without clear verification, these strong reactions should be viewed as speculative rather than confirmed. What do you think? Are these reactions genuine, or is this another case of media exaggeration? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more balanced royal news and analysis.